At times, if you ask me how I feel, it depends on the time you ask me. Sometimes I feel lost like my brother does, and sometimes I feel like I can't make it. I have a guardianship of my little brother. He's only 14. I'm just 20 years old. I understand that none of this is going to bring my mother back. Maybe it could stop this from making other families being separated. It's just not how it's supposed to be. Maybe this suffering that we're having right now, it could prevent it from happening to someone else. Senator Harris and soon to be Governor Jealous, will you think about us now and when you are elected? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. One lady. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And you know, we face this kind of family crisis every single day in our community. Every single day, this administration do that. You know, the separation of our families and our kids. Every single day. So this extraordinary youth want to share with you this experience. And you know, the question is like, why you share with us this experience right now? Well, the reason is because we need new leadership. Yes. We definitely need new leadership. We need somebody in Maryland that stands against these attacks to our community. We need somebody in Congress that stands against these attacks against our communities. And that is the reason why we are sharing with you this. Because the only way how we are going to change this situation is very simple. Voting in November. I'm sorry, in June 26th. I don't know why I'm saying November, well, because we also got elections in November. That is the reality. But it's in June that we need to vote. It's very important. So it's my honor, and I think that it's already here to introduce to you Senator Harris. Senator, please join us. Senator, an extraordinary leader. Senator, thank you so much. One more time. Senator Harris is our leader in Congress fighting this administration against these attacks to our families. So welcome to Casa and thank you so much. Gracias.
What's up, Marilyn? How you guys doing? So listen, I am here in support of Ben Jealous to be the next governor of the state of Maryland. And I am here on behalf of the 40 million Californians I represent because we need Ben Jealous to be the governor of Maryland, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we are dealing with so many issues right now that are challenging us as a country. And so many failures at the federal level where the states are going to have to pick up the slack. And that's going to be about the governors of these various states paying attention to what we want and need on issues like immigration, on issues like criminal justice reform, on issues like climate change, on issues like redistricting. So we send the right people who represent all the people to Washington, D.C., and it's the governors who are going to make those decisions. And this great state of Maryland needs to have, wants to have, and will have Ben Jealous as the next governor. So let me just share with you a couple of thoughts I have about where we are now and where we are as a country. You know, Ben and I were talking back, we've known each other a very long time. We are long-standing friends. Ben, you know, I don't say old friend anymore because I just, you know, at a certain age you don't want to talk about your old friends. So a long-standing friend, Ben Jealous. But it's a pivotal moment in the history of our country, an inflection moment. You know, I think of this as being a moment in time similar to that moment in time when my parents met when they were active in the civil rights movement in the 1960s, and that's something that Ben and I have in common. His parents also, as you know, were very active. I think of this right now as being an inflection moment in the history of our country, where we are collectively being required to look in a mirror and ask this question: who are we? And friends, I believe the answer is a good one. Imperfect though we may be, flawed though we may be, I believe we are a great country. I believe we are a great country. And I say that for a number of reasons. I say that based on personal and professional experiences. I say that based on all of the principles and the ideals upon which we were founded. Those ideals that were at play when we wrote the Constitution of the United States and all of its amendments. The ideals that were present when we issued the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, and we spoke those words in 1776, that we are all equal and should be treated that way. And this is a moment in time that is requiring us to fight for those ideals. And fight we will. And fight we will. And we will do it, accepting the reality also that this is a moment in time where a lot of our friends, neighbors, co-workers, and family are rightly incredibly distrustful of their government, its leaders, and institutions. And let's talk about relationships of trust. By its very nature, the relationship of trust is a reciprocal relationship. We give and we receive trust. And one of the most important ingredients in a relationship of trust is truth. But there's a funny thing about truth. Speaking truth often makes people quite uncomfortable. Quite uncomfortable. And for people like Ben and me, the incentive is that we walk in the room and everyone applauds, and when we walk out, we make everyone feel lovely and they applaud, and we sprinkle lovely dust all over, and we walk out. Speaking truth don't necessarily achieve that end. But the other thing is this. Yes, people may walk away from that conversation saying, you know, I didn't particularly like what I heard. But they will also walk away from that conversation saying, but I respect that it was an honest conversation. So you're looking at me, okay, Kam, okay, Ben, what are some of those truths? Well, if Charlottesville didn't make it clear, let's speak the truth. Racism is real in this country. Sexism is real in this country. Homophobia, anti-Semitism are real in this country. Let's speak those truths so we can deal with them. Let's speak the truth that for many, many working Americans right now, their wages are stagnant while the cost of gas and housing and tuition is going up. Let's speak that truth. Let's speak the truth that we are a nation of immigrants. Unless you are Native American or your ancestors were kidnapped and brought over on a slave ship, your people are immigrants. Let's speak that truth. Let's speak the truth that tearing babies away from snatching them from the arms of their parents has nothing to do with securing our border and is not reflective of who we are as a country. Let's speak truth, as Ben Jealous has been for years, and all of the work that he has done his entire career. America's got a problem with mass incarceration, and we need to deal with that. And we need to deal with what has to happen at the state level, at the federal level to reform our criminal justice system. Let's speak truth. And finally, let's remember to always speak the truth. We have so much more in common than what separates us. We have so much more in common. As Americans, we have so much more in common than what separates us. And while there are these powerful forces trying to sow hate and division among us, let's not buy into that. You know, people say, oh, are we divided? as a nation? I say no, we have much more in common than what separates us. I'm not going to buy into that. I'm holding on to the fact that when we all wake up in the middle of the night with that thing that is worrying us, we're thinking the same thoughts. When we wake up with that thought, it is never through the lens of the party with which we're registered to vote. It is never through the lens of some demographic a pollster put us in. When we wake up in the middle of the night with that thought, it usually has to do for all of us with just one of a very few things: our personal health, the health of our children, or our parents. Ben has been working on that. He's got an agenda, Medicare for all, right? Let's keep that true. Let's keep the truth. People wake up in the middle of the night and they're worrying about, can I get a job? Can I keep a job? Can I pay the bills by the end of the month? Ben's got a whole agenda on making sure that we grow the economy and get jobs for people. When people wake up in the middle of the night, they are thinking about, especially our students, can I pay off those student loans? Well, guess who talks about debt-free college? Ben Jones. The vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. And so I'm going to close my point with this. Just two things. One, most of us been out there marching and shouting, right? And it's an interesting thing. Some people would say that when you're critical of what's not working in your country, that might invite a question about one's love of country. I reject that notion. I say there are two definitions of what it means to be a patriot. One, a definition that suggests you defend or condone the conduct of your country, whatever it does. And then two, the kind